Zubiri maghihiganti sa China sa ginawa nitong pang-aapi sa Pilipinas.
We can learn from our neighbor Vietnam, Your Honor, if I may respond. Vietnam, they decided to boycott all Chinese-made products in China. They decided to veer away from China as its number one trading partner. And now their number one trading partner is already the Western nations. You're looking at European Union. They have a free trade agreement with the European Union. They have a free trade agreement. They're moving for a free trade agreement with the United States. They're also moving towards a free trade agreement with Korea and Japan, Australia, New Zealand. So ang punto ko po dyan, Mr. President, pwede po tayong wag nating pag-usapan nga itong issue ng military, but we can also propose, for example, the trade industry, the Trade Department, that yung mga kukunin natin ng mga kumpanya na ipapasok natin dito ay hindi puro Chinese companies, di ba? Yung gumagawa ng mga tulay natin, yung gumagawa ng ating mga karsada, gumagawa ng kung ano-ano, yan, sinabi mo, tinuturo mo na kung saan. Yung gumagawa dyan at kinakalkal yung buhangin at kung saan-saan. Dapat siguro hindi China yun, di ba, Mr. President? We can do other things because you want to hit them. Right now, their economy, to be honest, it's not in the great shape. So we don't want to put just all words, but we want to put actions in our words. So these things we can put out in the open. We can discuss this during the budget hearing. We can ask the DPWH. Maybe we can blacklist Chinese construction companies, engineering companies. Let's blacklist them. Things that we can do and help our countrymen to show our disgust, Mr. President. Kasi kung wala tayong gagawin, Diyos ko, hindi po sila titigil. Katulad ng binanggit ko, bakit napakahirap mahalin ang China na kinakausap naman natin, nililigawan naman natin sila. Ang problema, para ko sa lover pa, bigo palagi ang ating mga aksyon sa kanila. And the one that is very striking today, gentlemen and ladies, Mr. President, CNN, they were interviewed in CNN. The Chinese state media, or rather the Chinese State Department, Foreign Ministry, had already come out saying that undisputedly now from them, that is their territory. They told us to get out of their territory. And my God, as I mentioned, paano naging teritoryo nila yan? Eh nung panahon nila Lapu-Lapu, doon na po umiikot ang ating mga kapwang Pilipino na mangisda sa mga lugar na ito. Time immemorial. They never, of course, they would travel with the trade, no? Yung kanilang, hindi galyon yung ginagamit nila, junk boat, yung mga junk boat nila. Pero napakalayo nito mga lugar sa China. And they categorically and unilaterally claim that it is theirs. Yan ang masama. Without even discussion among neighbors. So, I agree with you. When it comes to certain issues that are sensitive, Mr. President, we can limit it to an executive session. But when we want to share and air our disgust, I think now is the time to do it. As a matter of fact, Mr. President, I know 4 days ago, I was getting insults left and right from certain media personalities, by certain personalities saying that what we did in the Senate was stupid, ignorant, and shows that we do not know foreign policy decision-making in our country. Now, my point I want to bring out, and I'm glad this was raised by my dear colleague, Minority Floor Leader. What say you? What say you now that they have attacked our ship with water cannons? What say you, these people? Are you with us or are you with China? Are you patriots or are you traitors? Diba? Blessed are the peacemakers. But we must make a stand. That's what happened in Europe when Hitler entered. There were several countries na ayaw namin ng gulo. Okay lang. Mamaya-maya, nandun na, kapaligid na sa kanila. Buong Gestapo at SS and the whole Hitler army. And history shows what happened then. They were taken over by this whole group of Nazis. So my point is, true, blessed are the peacemakers. But that's why we have a nation. We have a community of nations that we can go to. We can ask for the rule of law in this particular issue, UNCLOS, in the conduct of our actions in the seas. Hindi ito pwedeng gawin nila, bombahin nila ng tubig. Nagumpisa na sila. Nakita nila, bumalik yung barko. Siguro lahat na ng barkong pupunta dyan ay gagawin po nila yan. So what action can we take? Calling us stupid? Calling us ignorant? Now what? What say them? What do they say about this incident? Sila ba'y natutuwa sa pangyayaring ito? Baka bayad ng mga Chinese yan? Sila ba ay natutuwa sa paghihinakit sa ating mga sundalo at Coast Guard na nagsakripisyo na kanilang buhay para sa ating bansa? Yan ang katanungan ko dyan. We should rally the people's support. In Vietnam, they would rally. tens of thousands would rally in front of the Chinese embassy against their atrocious act in the side of the Vietnamese Sea. Dapat tayo din mapukaw kung sa Bisaya pa. Kawo nato ba? Kinanan magising ang ating bansa. Dahil kung hindi po tayo magigising, ang Palawan magiging kanila. Yung mga resort dyan sa Palawan ay magiging China. Kung hindi po tayo gagalaw, kailan pa tayo gagalaw? Tama sinabi ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Kung hindi natin pukawin ang ating puso, wala na mangyayari sa atin. And that's why I don't want to discuss strategy, but we have to do something. It cannot be like this status quo. It is like a Groundhog Day. Paulit-ulit na lang pangyayaring ito. Katulad ng binanggit ko kanina, sa daming note verbal na binigay natin sa China, pwede na natin i-gift wrap yung buong Chinese embassy ng North Verbal. So thank you, Mr. President. And if
Yes,
there's other
Mr.
questions from our dear colleague.
Not a question, Mr. President, just siguro just an insight that we should supplement what we can say here at the plenary level with more hard work engaging the executive branch behind closed doors. Mr.
Absolutely.
President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. I totally agree, Mr. President. Maybe we should have some more of these discussions like what we did last week. And I believe there's a committee that's handling it now. We can refer, if I may, Mr. Majority Leader, that we refer the committee or the discussions today to that particular committee, and we could start off with an executive session so that we will really know what the plan of action is with the executive. But again, I think we are all united, that we are one with our soldiers, one with our Navy personnel, one with our Coast Guard, and one with the community there, yung Pag-asa. Pag-asa Island, hindi namin kayo papabayaan. Itong budget na tong 2024, pangako natin na magkakaroon, pangako ng buong Senado na magkakaroon po tayo ng mas maganda mga proyekto doon para maramdaman po ninyo na mahal po namin ang Pag-asa Island at yung mga nakatira doon na ating mga kababayan. Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, I stand here today to stand with our Coast Guard men and women as they face hostile action by intruders right in our very own. I stand here today in support of our troops of the BRP Sierra Madre, who have endured years of blockade by interlopers who mistakenly think that by denying our boys food, they will also bring down their morale. I stand here today in solidarity with our fishermen who have been blocked from the rich waters which are legally and historically ours by a swarm of gunboats dispatched from the Great Wall of Sand. I stand here today to articulate the hurt and hopes of a people whose rights have been trampled by a bully who refuses to stand down. We have been cautioned, my dear colleagues, not to meddle on matters which by some theory is the realm of the executive. We are often reminded that politics stops at the water's edge, meaning discussions on politics should remain within our borders. We respect that, Mr. President. We respect that foreign affairs is a business solely pursued by the President. But how can we not speak up when the very troops who secure our borders and stand on harm's way have been airing their disgust? How can we remain mute when one nation after another has been voicing out their full-throated condemnation of yet another provocation against our Coast Guard peacefully, let me repeat, peacefully navigating on our sea? How can we, Mr. President, not echo the anger of a people against heinous acts on the high committed with impunity by a party squatting on territory that is ours if we want it true to our man? Kung tikom ang bibig at bahag ng ating buntot, paano tayo magiging Senado ng taong bayan kung ayaw natin bigyang boses ang kanilang hinagpit? My dear colleagues, last week, provocative, illegal, and dangerous maneuvers by the Chinese Coast Guard vessel on a Philippine Coast Guard supply boat is the latest manifestation of its might versus right treatment of peaceful neighbor. It is a show of diplomatic duplicity, of professing friendship but practicing hostile behavior, Mr. President. Bubulahin tayo nila na kaibigan daw sila natin. Tapos sa isang iglap, bubombahin ng tubig ang ating mga barko. How can they convince us that they're sincere one day, the next day, one day, and they shower a former president of ours with praises and assurances in Beijing, and shortly after, the next day, fire water cannons on our ship. At ang ganyang pagtrato, hindi lang ginagawa nila sa mga barko ng Republika ng Pilipinas, pero ang masakit, ginawa din ito sa mga baroto o bangka ng mangingisdang Pilipino. This incident, my dear colleagues, Mr. President, reaffirms the merit of the resolution that the Senate has unanimously passed last week. That resolution illuminates the way forward because China contemptuously ignore protest, all the more that we have to rally the world to